So we got the Fox 38. I tested this not long ago on the Yeti. Wasn't a huge fan. It was alright, it was good. But I wasn't like, oh wow, this is really worth the extra weight and the extra coin, the extra money. But it was alright, it was cool. So I really wanted to test one again post-service. So he's pulled this fork apart, serviced the air spring, so the air spring's a closed assembly. He's pulled all that out, serviced it, got rid of any excess grease in the negative, and has got it running really well. So this is a pure test of the 38 now. It's as good as it can be service-wise, assembly-wise, and this is a 160. And it really gave me a chance to dial it in and feel what's going on with the spring and what the story is. So let's get into the meat and potatoes. Compression and rebound. So I went back and forth. Like I said, I've done heaps of runs on this bike. On this fork, I did 7 runs today. It might have been 8. I killed a battery. I did the full battery at Anstey's Hill, just riding laps of Wildside. A little bit choppier. It's nice. There's kind of higher speed stuff and there's some janky stuff, so really makes the fork work. Good. Not the best place to tune a bike, but it is a good place to tune a bike for sure. Especially if you're racing it, you tune a bike specific to where you're riding for the most part, but you can get a general setup. Anyway, ended up with 3 clicks from fully open on the high-speed compression. It's got a possible of 8. You can go up to 8 clicks. So 3 from open on the high-speed compression. I ended up at 7 from open on the low-speed compression. Started at 3 or 4. Ended up going more, just getting a bit more strength and a bit more control out of the stroke. Ended up at 7, felt quite good. High-speed compression, increasing the high-speed compression, gave me a little bit more hand fatigue. It was a little bit more stout. And then you go 4 or 5 clicks from open. So 3 clicks from closed, and it's real stout. Like it's a little bit much. If you were to use that, you'd want to change the spring configuration. So the spring pressure and rate that I'm running doesn't work well with a lot of high-speed compression. But there's options. There's enough. What I'm getting at is there's enough range in that high-speed compression adjuster and the low speed for you to run whatever configuration you prefer, whether it's less pressure and more tokens or more pressure and less tokens. I'm currently at 110 PSI, 1 token. Feels great. 3 tokens at 105 was still choppy, but a little deep in the sag. So at 110 and 1 token, I'm at 31, 32 millimeters of sag. So pretty well perfect. 160 mil fork, that's 20% sag. 32 mils, 20% sag. So you can see there I'm not quite using the full travel, but I was using the full travel with the high-speed rebound a little slower. So my high-speed rebound is at 3 clicks out from full closed. At 2 clicks out from full closed, I was blowing through the travel a bit more. Now I know that's a weird concept for you to understand that how does the high-speed rebound affect how much travel you use? That's just pressure and tokens that affects that. No. It absolutely affects it. Makes it feel like it stands more strong on top of the stroke. It doesn't disappear underneath you as much with that higher high-speed rebound, the faster high-speed rebound. Too much of it makes the fork punch a little bit. But again, if you were to change your configuration and go like a more tokens, less pressure and drop down to 90 and run like a 30% sag or something like that, you would open that up to keep the fork working well and keep the fork fast out of the deep part of the travel, that initial part of the rebound stroke, and then counter with the low speed rebound to suit that. So again, there's a good range for whatever preferred spring configuration you like, whatever preferred setup you like. For me, I don't want it to be soft off the top and then harsh down the bottom. I want it to be supportive throughout, so less tokens, more pressure, in context of how the spring works and the negative to positive ratios of the spring and whatever. I'm assuming it's got a good size negative air spring. They say it does. I haven't opened it myself and had a look, but feels good, rides well. The suppleness off the top is excellent, but it's not. I think it comes at a cost. I think to have that planted and supple at off the top makes it a little bit sluggish. Potentially makes it a little bit sluggish. So you tune that out a little bit, which is what it's known. It's known for that. Oh, it's way more planted. It's super supple off the top. And when people compare it to the Z, they say it's just a little more supple off the top. For me, I've had to not tune that suppleness out. The suppleness is still well and truly there, but to have that standout suppleness, you sacrifice something else. So I guess what I'm getting at is the performance is excellent, but it's not exceptional. It doesn't stand out from anything else I've ridden that I've had set up really, really well. So a Lyric set up really well. I find the 160 Lyric's easier to set up than a 170 Lyric for whatever reason. Maybe it's the spring there. Saying that, the 170 Lyric's killer as well. But 150, 160, perfect. I'm really, really hanging to try a Z. Stiffness on this thing, I don't really notice much. Honestly, I don't notice much difference in the stiffness. It is definitely stiff. It's definitely stiff enough. And being that it's an e-bike and I'm carrying a fair bit of speed and I get hard on the brakes, I guess it is stiff, but it doesn't really feel stiff. It feels like it's, I guess the plushness makes for, it's almost got like fore and aft plus, like plushness, like backwards and forwards plushness. Like it's got built-in flex within the legs somewhere. So I wouldn't say it's overly stiff. I wouldn't say it's a real stiff fork, but it's strong enough and stiff enough to be able to bolt onto any bike you want, whoever you are, and absolutely charge. But for me, final verdict, is it worth the money and the extra weight? No, definitely not. It's a good fork. It's a great fork. It feels killer, but you can get lost in the setup, absolutely. I'm fairly in tune with what I'm feeling on the trail, so I work pretty hard to go through the potential factors of what's affecting, what's creating a certain feel, and I'll go back and forth. Beauty of an e-bike is it's so easy to get back up the top of the hill and just punch lap after lap after lap. So it made setting up this fork pretty easy, so thanks for that, for sure. I don't think it's any better than anything else I've ridden. I don't know. It dives a little bit in the middle still. It dives a little bit in the middle. Once I sped the Rebound up, the high-speed Rebound up, it kind of got rid of that dive, actually. I don't really know what else to say about it. It's an excellent fork. It performs incredibly well, but it's not a standout, and for the weight, I don't think it's worth the money, to be honest. So, yeah, I'm sorry it's not better. I'm sorry I don't have a better opinion of it, but that's how it is. Excellent fork, very strong. Blow your cash if you want, but for me, it's not a standout. I never had any air drop out of these little burp things. Maybe a little bit in the drive side, on the air side, sorry, but it was cool. Yeah, one token and as much pressure as you need for your support. Seems like it's on the sweet spot. Take all the hand chop out, or most of the hand chop. The rest of the hand chop you find in the compression and the Rebound. You'll be able to take that out. But yeah, it was good. It was good. Thank you very much, Mark, for letting me borrow it. It's killer. And pay attention to your setup, because it doesn't matter what fork you've got, you can get it screaming. You can definitely get it feeling really, really good if you get your setup right.